Coming up, a look inside one dog training facility making a big impact with the help of its gentle giants. And an unlikely place for a furry companion who continues to brighten up any room he steps into. Welcome to this WEBN special report, Our Four-Legged Heroes. I'm your host, John Newton. Dogs. They are considered man's best friend, but why? We'll explore this age-old saying and uncover just how extraordinary is the work these animals do. We will discuss what it takes to become a service, therapy, and emotional support dog, as well as take a look at the training behind other working dogs like police canines. We'll also tackle issues that could affect everyday dog owners. To start off our show, we will examine the type of working dog that undergoes the most training, a service dog. Aaron Crowley will show us how one organization has been training service dogs for more than 2 decades.
It's not a perfect, but I don't think anytime you're working with people and animals, nothing's ever perfect and goes according to a blueprint.
Pauline Hogler started GOFI, Golden Opportunities for Independence, in 2014. The nonprofit group breeds, raises, and trains service dogs on the South Shore, and it's a matchmaking process that begins right from birth.
First starting out, I really love that part of it. I love having the recipient be able to come here and watch the birth of their puppy, be able to have their puppy on their lap within a couple days of it being born, and really be part of growing with that puppy. It's riskier that way, but you definitely take away a lot of transitions that have to happen later in life.
These service dogs help people cope with physical and psychiatric disabilities.
Oh, come on. Back up. Back up. Come. They sit and watch your every move, every minute of every day. So they're able to pick up on more subtle changes that humans just don't, have a keen sense for. And, as for scent work, that's one way. Every medical condition is a change in metabolism and cells, and so you smell differently.
Dan Gruber is a junior at Norwood High School and helps out at GOFI. He says he has learned lots from his short time there.
I've learned to appreciate life more, that my life isn't always as bad as I might seem, the beauty of life and the fragileness of everything, and happiness, just pure happiness.
GOFI headquarters services within 25 miles of Walpole, Massachusetts. Reporting in Walpole, I'm Erin Crowley, joined by Bridget and by Sunny.
As we dive deeply into the incredible work dogs can do, here are the different categories of working dogs. First, there are service dogs, as we previously mentioned. The Americans with Disabilities Act defines a service animal as any dog specifically trained to provide assistance to an individual with a disability in completing tasks of daily living. Under the Act, service animals accompany people with disabilities in all areas where members of the public are allowed to go. Examples of these service animals are guide dogs and those that accompany people with epilepsy. A therapy dog is a dog that has received training with its handler to provide animal-assisted interactions. For example, dogs that visit hospitals and schools. An emotional support dog provides comfort, therapy, companionship, therapeutic benefits, or promotes emotional well-being. Other working dogs include police canines, military, and search and rescue dogs. We'll go in more detail on those later. Now let's go to Chelsea Swift live at the State House. She spoke to several officials in the Boston area about the laws behind dog classifications and which rights come with each. Chelsea?
Discriminating against service dogs is illegal. However, the Massachusetts Office of Disability says that emotional support animals are being confused with service animals. This is causing some dogs to enter spaces that they aren't legally allowed.
People may misrepresent an animal that they're bringing into a restaurant or a store as a service animal, but because people get very nervous about what they can legally ask, they may just make the assumption that it is a service animal and allow it to be there when, in reality, maybe it shouldn't be.
Under the Americans with Disabilities Act, you cannot legally ask a service animal to leave any public area. But Aaron Glover says if you're not sure if they are a service animal, you can ask 2 questions.
So you can ask, is this dog necessary for a disability, and what work or tasks is the dog trained to perform? Beyond those 2 questions, you cannot legally ask anything else.
If you are working at a business and you aren't sure if a dog is allowed to be there, don't be afraid to speak up and ask if the dog is necessary for a disability. Live outside the State House, I'm Chelsea Swift for WEBN.
As Chelsea noted, there is a big difference between a service and an emotional support animal. Though they get less training, emotional support animals still play an important role.
I think it's just like the power that dogs have of just like being there, and it's so comforting knowing like they have your back, even though he's like a tiny little thing.
Rufio is the Linger family's emotional support animal. He was taken in by the Lingers almost a decade ago. When their mother, Nilda, was diagnosed with cancer, Rufio accompanied her everywhere, at home, at the office, and in the hospital. He gave her comfort the best way he knew how, by lying by her side. When Nilda passed away, Rufio continued to comfort Julia, her brother, and her father. To this day, Rufio still keeps Julia's father company.
He, in everyone's way, made a difference. Like with my mom, with her treatments, like when she was when she wasn't feeling well, he was always there. With my dad, he gives an excuse for my dad to walk outside, which is something my dad loves. With my brother, he always sleeps with my brother, and for me, he'll let me record him doing weird things.
It's incredible how these animals can be so comforting. Our reporter Kimberly Wilborn gives us a look at how one therapy animal organization leads its pack.
Maureen Ross has owned dogs her whole life.
I've had 23 dogs in my lifetime, too. And we have, 12 of them registered therapy dogs, so we've been doing this for a long time.
After founding the New England Pet Partners chapter, she trains animals to be therapy certified. She teaches them basic commands and how to react in different scenarios. And she rewards them with more than just food.
It's touch, it's having fun, it's being released and say, go jump now and play.
Then the dogs can visit places like hospitals and schools.
It brings this enrichment and joy, and what it does is break barriers of communication.
Mary Blake works at an assisted living facility and has seen the effect therapy dogs can have.
There was somebody that was dying, and I think it was his daughter, said, Can Sonny come and lay beside my father? The music's playing, and it was just one beautiful moment. And I will never, ever forget that.
Sonny used to be Mary's former pet partner, but has since passed. Today, Mary is working with Summer to have her therapy certified.
This is my 3rd golden retriever, and hopefully we'll become a pet partner team. We'll be tested in June.
Once dogs like Summer pass their final team evaluation, they get these vests that make them official pet partners. Reporting in Pelham, New Hampshire for WEBN, I'm Kimberly Wilborn.
From golden retrievers to bulldogs, there are so many dog breeds. We'll tell you about one team that took an unlikely breed and turned it into a friendly sidekick. Juliana Bruno has the story.
When you drive up to the Service Dog Project, a choir of woofs and barks greets you. That's the sound of Great Danes.
They love being a service dog because they're with you 24 hours a day, and that's their goal in life anyway. They just are well suited for this job.
The job? To assist people with disabilities. Carlene White started the Service Dog Project. The Massachusetts-based organization donates Great Danes, some of which are over 160 pounds, to support people with disabilities, like multiple sclerosis and cerebral palsy. The start of the charity was actually an accident.
I used to provide animals for commercials. I had to put in this kennel fencing, or I could not use animals in commercials. So I put that kennel fencing in. And that afternoon, my stud dog got his 2 front feet over that damn fence, and he got out and bred 3 females in one afternoon. So 63 days later, I had 23 Great Dane puppies. There's not a big market for Great Dane puppies, or at least there wasn't. And I'd always wanted to be a seeing eye dog trainer. So I took the 23 Great Dane puppies and we started in training them. And they turned out beautifully.
And heartwarming success stories followed. For one woman, a companion from the Service Dog Project gave her a new leash on life.
I took her up to Market Basket, got out of the car, showed her how to get the dog out of the car. We walked over and stepped up the curb to go to Market Basket. She burst into tears. She hadn't been able to walk up a curb in years. She's fenced in by a 6-inch curb. We don't realize how many obstacles there are to people with handicaps.
The Great Danes help people with mental disabilities and illnesses as well, such as post-traumatic stress disorder. Carlene says the dogs are great partners for returning soldiers.
A lot of these guys coming out of the war just don't have a buddy to be with, and just by being there is a big help.
The dogs don't spend all of their time on the property here or in the homes of their owners. They often go to airports to greet returning war veterans.
So there's a organization that greets flights, military flights that are either coming into the country from deployment or leaving the country going into deployment. I have been taking Great Danes from here and to greet the troops, which they love. There'll be maybe 3 or 4 different dogs, but never anything that gets the attention that the Great Danes do.
A lifetime of being needed by someone awaits, and they're more than ready to step up. In Ipswich, for WEBN News, I'm Juliana Bruno.
Later, a team of dogs bringing smiles and laughter to hospital patients, and we'll show how these canines use their snout to make our world safer. Welcome back. One of the most widely known service animals is a guide dog. I sat down with Hess, a C&I volunteer and puppy raiser, to discuss what it takes for a dog to become someone's eyes and what happens to the dogs who don't quite make the cut.
Every puppy raiser usually gets 1 or 2, so right now this was our one. So to get a dog like this, you know, that's bred so well, it's very rewarding.
This is Ann Hess. She is a puppy raiser for the Seeing Eye, an organization that raises guide dogs for those who are blind.
They'll raise close to 500 dogs a year. They range from there are Labradors, there's Golden Retrievers, and there's Shepherds.
The puppy raisers socialize the dogs and expose them to crowded places.
We actually will take the dog at 7 weeks. We raise the dog until they're about 15, 16 months old. They go back to the Seeing Eye for their formal guide dog training.
After the formal training, the dogs go on to train with a matched blind person. If the dogs pass the final test, they become official guide dogs and go on to live with their new person. Then the puppy raisers say their goodbyes.
Your dog that you raise is out there changing someone's life forever.
But what if the dog doesn't quite make the cut? Luckily for Raisin, her original owners took her back.
They have to be the best physically, the best mentally, socially, all of that. So the reason Raisin didn't make it was for a heart arrhythmia.
Today, Raisin is a therapy dog helping special needs children. Hess said that dogs like Raisin have become police dogs and bomb-sniffing dogs, but at the end of the day, Anne's still happy to have Raisin.
It's pretty incredible what they can do.
We know about the training behind therapy and service dogs, but what do those visits look like? Kiana Francis Burkett shows us just how a 4-legged friend can brighten the mood in any room.
Making a child not scared of having a procedure, knowing that there's going to be a furry little friend at the end of it, it made a big difference.
Making a difference is what Paw Prints is all about. The program allows dogs like Cody to visit patients like Diane at Boston Children's Hospital.
They support kids a lot, and their sounds just make everybody calm because they're loving. Yeah.
She had a really tough procedure and was in a great deal of pain. And Duncan came in, and she got calm, and we saw her smile, and we heard the giggle.
I couldn't walk a while ago, and I met this dog named Vega, and she helped me walk through the hospital. And I would be tired, but I would walk with her. She would just stare at me and go, and I would just be like, okay, I'll walk more.
Cody, Duncan, and Vega are just 3 of the many dogs in the program. These trained therapy dogs are owned by hospital volunteers, and their main mission is to comfort. Inspired by Paw Prints, Diane wants to help other kids by getting a therapy dog of her own.
I actually am probably getting my first dog. from Make-A-Wish.
She talked to the program about an end goal being a dog that she might be able to train to be able to help other kids to bring into the hospitals.
At the end of the day, Diane and her mom are just thankful for the Paw Prints program.
I think all hospitals should have this because they're supportive and they help kids.
For WEBN in Boston, I'm Kiana Francis Burkett.
Every month, the Boston Children's Hospital also hosts a dog show. The show is put on by a therapy dog organization called Caring Canines. These rotating groups of dogs show off their skills to patients and their families with tricks and even a dance. For those parents who cannot attend, the show is broadcasted to every room in the hospital. Caring Canines has been providing volunteer-driven pet therapy for 17 years. Not only do children enjoy playing with dogs, but the elderly do too. Tyler Robichaux went to an assisted living facility and talked to some of the residents.
This is Luna. She's a dog who visits the Neville Assisted Living Facility often.
Luna comes here 7 days a week. So she knows pretty much all the residents.
Luna is not therapy trained, but she brings these residents lots of joy.
I think she's adorable.
Everybody loves the dog.
The little dog also reminds these residents of past memories.
We always had 1 or 2 dogs because it was sort of a farm where I grew up.
I had 4 brothers, so they were always bringing home stray dogs, supposedly.
There's something about a dog, I mean, that it's like part of family.
Luna participates in what is called animal-assisted activity. That is when an animal's goal is only to visit. Rather than being part of a therapy plan, Luna is just there to be a friendly face.
She's a lovely dog. She's adding something to this room.
She brings more light to the room, and they all love her.
Reporting in Cambridge for WEBN, I'm Tyler Robichaux.
We have shown you who therapy dogs help, but what's the training process like for those who might not be able to pay for a class, like Belle's mom?
She's not certified yet. We're working on it. She still has some energy and excitement about her that makes it hard to calm her down.
That was Desiree Bradford. She's in the process of getting her dog, Belle, therapy certified. What that means is she will need to know basic commands ranging from sit to being able to stay unsupervised. One of the reasons Desiree wants Belle to be therapy certified is because she sees how much her dog comforts her as well as others.
Especially in like my high stress job. If I'm coming home from a crisis call, so for residence directors, we respond to emergencies overnight. And when I come back, she jumps on top of me, puts her head on my, puts her head on my chest, and like she'll calm me down. And I haven't trained her to do that.
We've talked about therapy dogs visiting hospitals and schools, but what about on an ambulance? Armstrong Ambulance is getting a new little helper. His name is Willie, and he's a chocolate lab puppy. He has completed 2 weeks of behavioral training and will continue his work at the Fox Hills Farm and Canine Facility. Once he's done, he will live at Armstrong's Arlington base. There, he will take on the task of cheering up sick or injured patients, as well as making visits to nursing homes and assisted living facilities. Speaking about first responders, let's not forget about police canines. Sydney Zuckerman will show us the special relationship between an officer and his canine.
Like any other relationships, we have our battles. Nothing's perfect. He doesn't complain about the radio station or where I eat.
Officer Mike Mason and his canine Chance have a bond unlike any other, solving crimes one sniff at a time.
We spend a lot of time together. The dogs live with me. We work, all the time together, training with them, because they don't just go home and sit on the couch like a pet.
Canines like Chance do much more than your average pup.
Dog comes out of his kennel or comes out of the car, he knows one thing: work.
They can track down suspects, illegal narcotics, guns, and explosives just by scent. This helps keep Revere and surrounding areas safe.
If somebody hides a gun and we don't look for it, we don't find it, and now some kid picks it up and then plays around with it and, God forbid, hurts himself or somebody else, it's a crappy thing to have to live with, knowing, oh, if I went out and searched a little harder, I could have found that.
That's why they're here to assist officers.
One way these dogs help out is by making searches more efficient. This is especially true in places like schools. These dogs are able to go through a lot of backpacks and lockers quickly to see if there's anything potentially dangerous or harmful in any of these areas.
We see them and actually find stuff, like I would have never found that. I'm just glad you're here, bud. Good job. My first dog found a sawed-off shotgun that was buried in the woods for over a year. We were standing on it, never even knew it. So they can do things that we could never do.
While Chance is invaluable to Mason, he and the other dogs will each cost close to $100,000 over the course of their lifetime, according to the officer. That includes adoption, training, the paid time off the officer needs for training, gear, food, and other expenses. But to the police force and the community, they're priceless. From Revere Police Station, Sydney Zuckerman, WEBN.
Another type of working dog is a military dog. The United States Postal Service recently announced it is including the brave canines in their 2019 Forever Stamp collection. The stamps feature the 4 most common dog breeds that served in America's armed forces: a German Shepherd, a Labrador Retriever, a Belgian Malinois, and a Dutch Shepherd. The dogs are shown in front of a white star with a blue or red background. There are an estimated 2,300 military working dogs serving on U.S. bases around the world. The stamps will be released later this year. Most people associate service dogs with guiding the blind, but what about aiding a veteran who has experienced trauma? Kimberly Wilborn sat down with one veteran to learn about how his faithful companion changed his life.
George is just my best friend. He comes with me to work, and he keeps me calm in stressful situations.
George is David's service dog.
After the VA diagnosed me with PTSD, shortly after I got George as a pet, and then after about a year of having him, I was introduced to Company to Heroes.
Company to Heroes is an organization that trains dogs to assist veterans like David.
I joined the Massachusetts National Guard Infantry in 2010, and I was sent as an 18-year-old to Afghanistan.
Company to Heroes helps the dogs become Canine Good Citizen trained, which is a standard requirement for all service dogs.
Come here, buddy. Come here.
David has also taught George more commands like this.
Having him to pet and take a minute or two to play with him or whatever just makes it a lot easier to recover from any sort of anxiety.
But for David, George's best quality is his friendship.
The big difference is not feeling alone, so he just always keeps me company.
And David hopes to strengthen their bond with further training.
He is really good at smelling things, so hopefully at some point we'll be able to train him up to be a scent dog.
Reporting in Boston for WEBN, I'm Kimberly Wilborn.
When we come back, we'll highlight the advantages of being in the presence of a dog, especially in the workplace. Welcome back. There's a reason they say dogs are man's best friend. Throughout the years, there have been multiple studies proving folks benefit from being around dogs. Our correspondent Carly Dion joins us.
According to the CDC, health benefits of owning a pet include decreased blood pressure, reduced cholesterol levels, and fewer feelings of loneliness. A 2012 study shows owning a pet also increases chances to exercise and engage in outdoor activities, as well as more opportunities to socialize with others. Bringing pets into the workplace has also shown to have many benefits for employees. A pet-friendly workplace reduces stress, increases social interaction, and provides comfort. For a stressful environment like a doctor's office, a therapy animal can improve the overall mood of employees and patients alike. Having a dog around can be a therapeutic and relaxing distraction. One doctor told me he brings his certified therapy dog with him to work.
Sometimes I come to see the dog and not the dog.
Donna Gravel has been seeing Dr. Austin O'Brien for nearly 20 years. One of her favorite parts of going to his office every month is seeing his therapy dog, Benton.
Dr. O'Brien said one day, he said, I didn't forgot that you were coming in, but he knew. He said, as soon as he walked in the door, he said, the nose went up and he was sniffing around and went right to the door.
I know as a phlebotomist, people get very worked up. I feel like he can sense that, and he literally comes in and he hangs out with them, distracts them, and even you can hear him at the door trying to get in there to see who's there.
Benton, the 2.5-year-old cockapoo, has accompanied Dr. O'Brien to work for more than a year now as an official New England pet partner. Dr. O'Brien says there is a process each animal must go through in order to be certified.
He had to be minimum of a year old for testing. I had to do courses for myself and also training for him to make sure that he was able to listen, take commands, certain level.
These therapy pets have a way of calming others in situations that may make them feel stressed out or anxious.
There were 2 little boys in here getting blood work done, and I expected to hear them screaming, and they were fine. They were playing with the dog.
It definitely helps people calm down during times of stress. We have kids come here when they see the dog and they have their shots or they have their blood test. It is a totally different world for them. They're not as anxious, they're not as scared, and they cope and manage and deal much better.
Dr. O'Brien's office is just one of many locations where New England pet partners can be found, including assisted living homes, banks, and even art galleries. Reporting in Lowell, I'm Carly Dion, WEBN News.
Thanks, Carly. We often see dogs as family and want to protect them from harm. Stephanie Wittenbach is live in the Boston Common to tell us how marijuana could be putting your pup in danger. Stephanie?
Marijuana can be extremely dangerous for your dog. Reactions can include dizziness, vomiting, and even depression. I spoke with veterinarian Dr. Jake Tadaldi and a few dog owners to see their thoughts on this rising issue. After Massachusetts legalized recreational marijuana 3 years ago, veterinarians like Dr. Tadaldi say they are starting to see more and more pets getting high, whether it's by secondhand smoke or consuming pot brownies.
Theobromine in the chocolate acts synergistically with the caffeine in the chocolate, and that can cause cardiac arrest at the right dosages. So if you've got the combination of symptoms from the THC, and then you've got chocolate toxicosis on top of it, it's very important to get them hospitalized right away, get them to regurgitate what's in their stomach, and get them treated.
And according to Dr. Jake Tadaldi, size does play a role.
It's size related too, so if you've got a 4-pound Chihuahua versus a 95-pound German Shepherd, the amount that they ingest is very critical.
Even if the dog is not immediately affected, there are multiple studies that say any kind of smoking can harm their health in the long run. But some of those who use the drug recreationally have taken the time to make sure their dog won't inhale secondhand smoke.
I have a dog in my apartment, but I do make that extra effort to open a window, or I put a fan out so it sucks the air away from my dog.
Make sure to keep your cannabis in a safe spot where your dog can't reach it. If your dog ingests THC, get them hydrated immediately and to the vet as soon as possible. Live at the Boston Common, Stephanie Wittenbach, WEBN News.
Thanks, Stephanie. Now to a new policy affecting dog owners in Boston. Dogs older than 6 months are now required to be licensed by law. When registering or renewing your dog's license, all you need is a copy of their most recent rabies certificate and documents confirming their spay or neuter status. Failure to license your dogs could lead to a $50 fine. The cost of registration is $15 for neutered or spayed dogs and $30 for dogs that are not.
We really encourage people to license because in a disaster situation, it helps us identify where any animals are. If your animal is lost, it helps us figure out when we pick that animal up that maybe it just lives down the street and we can return it right to you.
Humans have worked alongside dogs for thousands of years. Kimberly Wilborn shows us how one startup is reaping the benefits of having dogs in the office.
It's really comforting too, because you have they're always pretty much always happy, so it's just nice to have that in the office.
Most offices have break rooms to combat stress, but here at Profitwell, they have dogs.
I mean, look at him. He's adorable. He walks around like he owns the place too.
And it's nice to be able to just take out some time, if you're really frustrated with something or you just need a break, you can, just give a dog a little rub, or a lot of them will just come up to you and, want scratchies. So
the tech startup has adopted a dog-friendly office, meaning employees can bring their dogs to work with them.
Leaving him at home all day is tough, and obviously paying for a dog walker is expensive. So being able to bring him to work with me and have him just hang with me and not have to be, have my mind in 2 separate places is a huge relief.
It creates a cool environment where people can, relax a little bit, get a little puppy therapy when they need it.
The dogs, along with the company's building layout, have contributed to an increase in productivity.
What we're trying to do is basically create an environment where people can do their best work, and we're not, 100% succeeding yet, but, we're making little incremental improvements every single quarter and every single month.
Profitwell moved to this building about 3 years ago, giving them more space for more employees and for more dogs. Reporting in Boston, I'm Kimberly Wilborn for WEBN.
So next time you see a working dog on the street, remember to respect that they are working and give them the space to do their job. Thank you for watching this WEBN special, Our Four-Legged Heroes. I'm John Newton.